to the start of the scheduled Plan Commission meeting, representative of the Waukesha to consider a request from Ben Condi, owner, N10W292211 Cathedral Court, for the construction of an in-law unit addition. The regularly scheduled Plan Commission meeting will begin immediately following the conclusion of the public hearing. And with respect to the notice of public hearing, notice was given that a joint public hearing will be held by the Town of Delafield Plan Commission and a staff representative of the Waukesha County Department of Parks and Land Use, Planning and Zoning Division on Tuesday, February 4th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at the Delafield Town Hall, located at W302 N1254 Maple Avenue, Delafield, Wisconsin, 53018-7000. Consider the conditional use request CU124 of Matthew Whitman, Precise Construction, 1925 North Oak Grove Road, Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, 53066, for property owned by Ben Condi, N10W29211, Cathedral Court, Waukesha, Wisconsin, 53188, for the construction of an in-law unit addition. Subject property is described as Lot 24, Kettle Park, part of the northeast 1/4 of Section 26, T7N, R18E, Town of Delafield, tax key number DELT 01.024. And for additional information regarding this public hearing, please contact Ken Smith, Senior Land Use Specialist of the Waukesha County Parks and Land Use, 548-7790, or at kasmith@waukeshacounty.gov. And so with the public hearing today, was there someone to present?
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Is this on? Okay. So yeah, the subject property is on the Cathedral Square, or Ken Smith, Senior Land Use Specialist, Waukesha County Planning and Zoning Division in the Parks and Land Use Department. So yeah, the subject property is off of County Trunk Highway G, Elmhurst Road, just south of Interstate 94, south of Pewaukee Road, or Pewaukee Lake. It's almost a 2-acre lot. It's well screened on all sides, and the applicant proposes to have a 794 square foot home addition, which will serve as a mother-in-law suite. It would add on to an existing 1740 square foot home with a 516 square foot attached garage. The legal maximum under the Shoreland Protection Ordinance for these in-law units is 1,000 square feet, and applicants have to meet other conditions such as septic requirements. The addition, the architecture has to match the existing home as well as complement the existing neighborhood. Your body and my office will determine the appropriateness of an interior door of the in-law unit, and then a deed restriction will be required to ensure that the home stays as a single-family use and won't serve as a multi-family use. I believe I have covered the high-level stuff, and I'm open for any questions if anyone has any.
Deed restriction, maintain single family. Does that also restrict usage as a short-term rental?
We could certainly draft that language, but I don't believe that's our normal practice.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that it's necessary. We do. I was not familiar if it did or not, and important question, I guess. So.
Are you in favor of it?
Yeah, the county would be in favor of it.
You see any reason not to be?
No, the addition is in compliance. Again, it's a 794 square foot addition. The legal maximum under the Shoreline Protection Ordinance is 1,000 feet. The addition will be well screened on all sides. There's substantial foliage if you look at the Google Streets view of the property. And so I think it will be well hidden. The neighbors won't notice it after construction is all done. And and it'll allow the applicant to have a home for his mother.
Anyone have any other questions? Or anyone else who would like to speak? If you have the paper, oh, do you already turn that in? Okay, perfect. And please state your name and your address.
Matthew Widman, owner of Precise Construction. I'm the builder of the project. Address is 1925 North Oak Grove Road, Oconomowoc. Yeah, I just want to mention that it is a mother-in-law suite, but they are planning on turning it into their master suite eventually. The mother has dementia right now, so it's going to be temporary until, you know, they can't care for their mother anymore. You know, the basement part of this project is going to be their office, because both of them work from home right now. Yeah, I mean, he covered most of it. There's plenty of green space. There's plenty of shading all the way around. I don't think anybody will notice it, obviously, once construction's done.
Does anyone else wish to speak? If there is no further comment or any further discussions, we can close the public hearing portion and then start the Plan Commission meeting. And so I would call the Town of Delafield Plan Commission meeting to order, and I would ask that you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the January 7th, 2025 meeting. Does anyone have any comments on the minutes?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The next item on the agenda is unfinished business, or excuse me, is communication. Any more communications?
Nothing new.
Okay, so there is none. Next item is unfinished business, and none. Are there any changes? And for new business, there is one item for new business, 5A, and it is the consideration and recommendation to the Waukesha County Department of Parks and Land Use, Planning and Zoning Division, on a request from Ben Condi, owner, N10W29211 Cathedral Court, for the construction of an in-law unit addition. Carvel?
Sure. As you can see, here's where the location is, just so you get a feel. Ken had mentioned that there's a lot of wooded area around the particular house, which can be seen through that. I just have a couple other slides here just to give you a better, you had it in your packet, but if you have questions. The addition is that lower level area right here. It'll be on basically the back side of the house. It does have an area that is going to have a balcony over on the back side of it. This provides just a basic floor plan of this. What I just want to mention is that there's a door that they can get two from the front of the house. I'll show you a view of that, which is right next to the garage. But there's also a door that goes from the great room into the existing residence in there. And I'll mention that when I talk about my recommendations. And then this is just the view. The one on the left is a view from the back side of the house. And it's got a couple of nice windows there. That's basically the windows into that great room. The elevation on the right is what you would see from the road. So you see the addition protruding out, but you see that door that would actually just go from the outside into that particular unit on that. So, the history of in-law suites is we used to have them as conditional uses, and then the state law changed somewhat the way we do conditional uses, and the Plan Commission and Board decided to remove those from conditional uses and basically take them out of the code altogether. And part of that was the recognition of homes that are being built in the town that are very large and already have rooms that have kitchens or sinks, multiple bathrooms in a house. Things like that are they're building them right into the homes nowadays. You would not know the difference between this home that's going to have the addition versus some of the larger homes that have multiple, areas of preparation of food and bathrooms. Let's just say a lower level in a house could have a little kitchenette plus a bathroom, and they could use it as an in-law suite, and we wouldn't even know it, for that matter. And there's been obviously a movement towards elderly parents that need the care, and elderly parents are moving in, and it makes sense whether it's a separate suite or not. We kind of recognize that. Anyway, so that changed what we have to do, and basically we took it out. So we just allow it as a use, but through the county they do it as a conditional use. So we're allowed to add conditions if we so choose, or suggest conditions. I really don't have any reservations about what they're proposing to do. There is a requirement, I believe Ken had mentioned, that there's going to be a deed restriction that says that it can only be used by family members of the principal dwelling. And we want to make sure that it does not become a separate rental unit. That would be long-term. In short-term, I'm not sure, I think that would just fall into our short-term rental code for us on that. If we were to, I think this is part of the Shoreland District, so I'm not sure how much we can control that.
Well, if the deed restriction specifically says that it can be only used by immediate family of the property owner, that kind of eliminates it as a concern for short-term rental anyway. So.
And then the other thing that I had as a condition is that interior door remain. And really that's just one way to somewhat assure, granted, they could just close the door and make it a separate unit, but, with the door in between, the idea is that, when the mother-in-law moves on to another place or passes away or something, at least there's some connection to the house that will make it, somewhat uniform within the house. And sounds like if it's gonna be a master suite, then it's gonna fit right into the house there. So, with that, that's my recommendation with those two conditions on it. Can answer any questions. Or if you have any questions on the plans, you can ask those as well.
Okay, I'll ask. So when you mean remains in that interior door, you don't want it to be closed.
No.
Would they still have the ability to remove the door and have it completely open? But you don't want it to be closed off. That I understand.
When it's an in-law unit, I don't want it to be a wall. The door can be there, it can be closed, but if there's a door there, it can be closed. It's just not.
Right.
I don't
Say they wanted to open it up as completely open.
Oh, sure.
Right.
That's all together, yeah.
You need they don't technically need to keep the door there. It needs to still be able to be maintained with a passage through,
Passes through, yeah. Whether it's a small interior door or it's something larger.
completely
sure,
open.
That's fine, yeah.
Right.
So that it connects, so it's one unit.
Yep.
In essence, yes, that's what we're trying to do, is make sure it connects. So, you know, in years, and many, many years ago, those tended to become guest homes, rentals, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, that was the concern as to why that, I believe that's the reason we had that condition put in our code, or in our code. And it's a kind of a, it was in the county's code as well. We basically had the same code for many years.
Why are we voting on this as an in-law unit if that's not really what it's always going to be?
Well, the request actually, first of all, it's under county shoreland, and under county shoreland, it's a conditional use, so they're asking us for recommendations for it. So, once again, we're just providing a recommendation to the county on it, based on their code requirements. They want input from us, for the most part, from
Because
the
this could just be an
community.
addition to a house, correct?
Pardon?
This could just be the same as just adding on to a house. an
Yeah,
addition.
if it was in our jurisdiction,
That's what it
without the
would be.
county's jurisdiction, and someone came in with this, we would say, go right ahead. I'd probably still highly recommend having that interior door,
Right.
because we don't, I'm trying to
Trying to be
Trying to-
proactive to avoid.
right, I guess that's the way to do, you know.
An ADU or something.
We can't force it, but, you know, it's a lot easier to tell them, hey, put in an interior door so, you know, it isn't gonna become a separate unit that someone can get in from the outside and not see that other person at all.
Tim, do you see any issues with the language that says the in-law unit can only be used by family members? What do you, the word used? I mean, does that mean that if they end up making a guest space out of it, you know, they had friends over?
I think the intent there is, I mean, used to, I would say used as living quarters, if you wanna be real particular.
Or like resided in, or something along those, like a
Or
residence?
residing, yes, something like that. Jason, is this language do you have this in your code as well? Jason or Ken, do you recall?
And if you want to just read.
Okay,
And I will say, we will likely make the move.
oh, okay,
A lot of these hearings. I expect in the next, be a
okay.
different process for us too.
Ken Smith, Waukesha County Planning and Zoning Division, Senior Land Use Planner, or excuse me, Senior Land Use Specialist. And so in sub F of the in-law unit section, it reads verbatim, a deed restriction shall be filed in the Waukesha County Register of Deeds office, and a copy of the recorded document presented to the Planning and Zoning Division prior to issuance of the zoning permit. This deed restriction shall state that the in-law unit is to be occupied by persons related by blood or marriage to the family occupying the principal unit, and that the conditional use is not transferable without formal approval of the Plan Commission, this body, and the county zoning agency without necessity of a public hearing, and that the unit will be used as intended, and in addition shall not be rented as a separate dwelling unit.
Sounds like
That-
that language is very thorough.
That's the language from your code? Oh, okay.
That uses the word occupied, which I think is better than you know, just
Yeah.
because it's more specific.
Okay.
And addresses your short-term rental. Any other discussion that we'd like to have?
Make a motion to approve the recommendation from Waukesha County Department of Parks and Land Use Planning and Zoning Division on a request from Ben Condi, owner at N10 W29211 Cathedral Court for the construction of an in-law unit addition.
Set forth by Waukesha County?
Yes, I believe that would be part of the fact that they're getting it, but also, sure,
Okay.
Yeah.
subject to the restrictions deed restrictions from Waukesha County.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Okay, and the motion carries. And then, Mr. Barbo, you said there was a change with respect to 5B, correct?
Correct, I did receive a call from the operator of the potential winery, who, they decided not to proceed forward on this particular project. Part of the reason was, I had, and you could see it in my report, I had a number of questions about the use change. I mean, to be honest with you, it started out as, the request initially came in as a retail facility to sell wine. And then it kind of morphed into not only selling wine, but serving wine. And then it morphed into selling wine, beer, and other beverages. And so, and then they added, like charcuterie boards and stuff like that to it. So it kind of morphed into something that was different than just a retail wine sales location. Because this is a B1 district. And so there was a lot of issues with use, and our code doesn't address. To me, it turned into a tavern and we call it tavern because that's what's used in our codes, tavern or bar. And we don't allow that use anywhere in our code. So we would have had to create a code. But also we had the fire department review at least the use, and they said they probably have to bring this old farmhouse up to codes, ADA, and some of the other building codes associated with that. So there's a lot more to it, and I've notified the owner of the property that this is what the fire department would be looking for any different use than retail. So, anyway, bottom line is they've decided to not proceed forward, and so no action should be taken.
Okay. Is there any other new business?
No?
Next meeting is scheduled for March 4th, 2025 at 6:30 here.
motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.